Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Also, is there anything behind me?
Yeah, the brain.
um,
Oh,
this is such a great movie. Of course, I have the Blu-ray
thank
here.
you.
Um, so,
I haven't
tell
seen
me.
the Blu-ray yet, so don't ask me about it. I have. I mean, you can ask me about it, but what I think if I saw it, it's still. I guess they're going to send me some.
Oh, nice. Yeah, well, it looks great. So you're definitely in for a
Really?
treat. Yep. Um, how did you get cast in this movie?
Well, I did. It was by a gentleman named Jack Marquette. Jack Marquette was. I'm trying to adjust here a little bit, so I don't know why. Jack Marquette was cameraman, and I did some General Hospital. I did Man and the Challenge, and apparently he was by that time familiar with my work. And a few months later, he called me up on the telephone and said, "Would you come to my office?" So I did, and he says, "I've written a science fiction picture, motion picture." And he says, "There's a wonderful part in it for a young woman who is strong." And he said, "I've seen some of your work, and as an actress, you can be very strong." And he said, "Are you interested, or do you mind if it's a sci-fi?" And I said, "No, I love sci-fis." He offered me the role right
Nice.
then and there. I was shocked. Didn't show it, of course. I was trying to be cool. And then we talked about the part and so on. And in in a couple of weeks, he was getting ready to shoot. That's how I got the part.
Oh, wow. So that happened all very quickly then.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you mention your character in that movie is very strong and she has a lot of agency, which I think must have really attracted you to that particular role.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I did. I'm not, my theater background was pretty strong then. And not as strong as it got because I did Gertrude from Hamlet and I did scenes from Lady M and never did the whole play, things like that, and Midsummer Night's Dream. And so, in fact, when I did the movie, I had just gotten off of Romeo and Juliet, doing a play in the little theater. So there has to be a certain amount of strength and you do Shakespeare, to handle something like that. So I didn't come in as a greenhorn. I had quite a bit of theater background.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say,
Oh,
so you really knew kind of what you wanted to do with this character right from the get-go.
yeah, I studied with Stella Adler, so it was based
Oh,
on her knowledge of Stanislavski and the avenue that she went down, and I developed the character with my studying with Stella.
oh,
Stella
that's
Adler.
amazing.
I mean, she didn't personally help me or anything, but I had gotten quite a bit of technique that I understood that I used as far as she's concerned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Oh, do
great.
you know who Stella Adler is?
Oh, yeah, she's
She's
very
a
famous.
famous drama coach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Drama
they like one of the founders of kind of modern acting, really.
Yeah, well,
That,
Strasberg, Stella Adler, and oh God, what's his name? Anyway, they all came from the Stanislavski, and they all went in different directions. But yeah, it was the modern theater brought alive like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I knew exactly who you were talking about. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
But
So I'm kind of curious, like, what was the
you're right
mood?
between his eyes right now, the brain.
Yeah, my regular background was a little boring. I thought I would get the mood going.
When you see all my pictures in the
Yeah,
background,
that's
well, all
amazing.
around this office, I have the pictures, my theater, my television, movies, commercial, all around, all the walls.
A lot of really fantastic memories, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a big memorabilia room. That's what it is.
Nice. Yeah, now I'm kind of curious, what was the general mood on set? Like, did everybody, I mean, obviously it's a film, so everybody's taking it to a degree seriously, but the material is so silly. Was there kind of like what was the just mood like, I guess? As far as
Well,
like with the
I don't know if John and I influenced everybody or not. I don't know because we knew we only had a certain length of time to do the movie, and we both just jumped in, totally committed
hmm,
to the movie. And uh, there, we didn't. I don't know if the producer or director between themselves told any jokes about it or whatever, but that the whole the whole idea was very real to me. It was very real, and
yeah,
I was totally committed. And as far as I remember feeling that this was an alien and a bad one. And of course, along came the good one who went into the dog, you know. So, and
yeah,
there was, and I I kept to the horn a little bit because I was green about a lot of technique. Like, I had to really understand what my marks were and hit them without looking at them. So, if they took a break, like they were doing something with the lights, I would rehearse the marks without looking at them and things like that, because there were certain techniques like that that I wasn't up on. They don't have that in the theater.
hmm,
I mean, where you're going and what you're doing is rehearsed way before. So that was new. And also being able to remind myself that wherever John was, that's who, on a close up or something, that's who I was supposed to look at. You'd be surprised when this big monster is standing right beside him. You might look into it. Well, I mean, just casually, but you're not supposed to at all. Just a lot of little techniques that I picked up a lot when I did that movie.
that's
Yeah.
great. And now, like, John was obviously like a veteran of a lot of these films and a lot of I
Yeah.
believe he did like a lot of westerns and stuff
Yeah.
in his career as well. Did he give you much guidance as far as like you obviously have a lot of theater in the background of the theater rather, but did he kind of give you some like help with as far as like with film acting or
No, because perhaps what I was nervous about, I covered up very well. And I don't think John even knew because John was concentrating. Sometimes John was getting ready to do a close up and he could only put those things in his eyes just only for so many seconds, and that was it. Otherwise water would come, because they were hard contacts.
oh wow.
They were hard. And no, the only thing he did was apologize because he felt he went a little too far when he was possessed by the brain and he was attacking me, sexually, and he felt like, oh, did I? And then, of course, I think Jack overheard it. Oh, no, I'm not sure if it was Jack or the director. No, I can't remember. This voice came up and said, we're going to do this over again. And this time I want you to tear off all her clothes. Well, John, he fell for it. And I knew they were kidding,
Oh, that's great.
And I forget if that was the director or if it was Jack. I'm not sure. I forget that part. But that's but no, when you have a theater background and an actor doesn't, they pick up on they don't have what you have, and they leave you alone a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that must be some incredible proving ground too, as far as just, like having that kind of background, you playing some of these really incredible theater roles. So yeah. Now speaking of John, what are besides the scene, the what you just told me, is there any other like really great memories you have of working with Mr. Agar?
I think that the bottom line really is that he developed his own technique, of which he attributes a lot to John Wayne, because John Wayne is the one that helped him a lot, and because he got him into the movies. And John was the type that always was the kind of actor then that worked with you and gave you space. He had a wonderful work ethics that way, that he was fun to do scenes with. And he accepted, because a lot of times theater people will not do the same thing twice. Basically, we do go from A to B, or pick up the chair when you're supposed to and stuff. But there's little nuances that are a little different every time you do the scene. And he just seemed to mold into that, because he was pretty much the same on, all the time. But there was one scene where I think I took his pith helmet and put it on him. Well, that wasn't in the direction. I was talking to him and I had the feeling to do it. I did it, and he just standing there, accepting it. And he molded right into whatever you were doing in the scene, which nice things can happen that way, Mike, when you can really work back and forth like that. And of course, when a director directs, that's what he works for, is the two actors to come together and really communicate with each other, because that's what photographs so well on the screen.
Oh, absolutely. I think you two have amazing chemistry. I think that really translates to the film.
I'm glad that came out. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. So he, in other words, was able to really volley with you if you wanted to try something.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what was the dog like to work with?
Huh? What was that again?
The
dog?
Yeah.
You said the dog. Oh, talk about a journey. Well, of course they're all trained very well, but you can't help but admire it, how well they're trained, And I'm an animal lover, so the dog sensed that right away. So we did good together, but boy, big white German Shepherd, he's beautiful. And of course, in the feature, the David Schechter, who wrote the script and directed it, wrote about the dog is off chasing alligators somewhere or something like that. If you see the little feature thing that I did, the introduction to the movie, I thought that was kind of funny. That they brought in the dog, but he was off chasing alligators these days or something.
When did you find out this movie had a cult following?
Well, about the brain, for Planet Arous, yes. Well, let me tell you, that little film followed me around most of my career like a little puppy dog. It was always popping up somewhere. I never got rid of it. And I go, and then I got eventually later on, when I retired, I got a webpage and put all my pictures and all my history on it, my webpage. And I've just been getting all kinds of fan mail, and most of it off and on through PayPal, can do it through PayPal. off and on, I get more of it from the brain, obviously, than all the different television shows. And fan mail has been popping in these last years from even long Denmark, Russia, Japan.
Oh, nice.
I get a lot from the States too, but that's been kind of fun, you know. Read, if you get depressed, just pull open the drawer and pull out a fan mail and read how wonderful you are. You feel better.
Do you recall the like the reviews at the time, or did you read those, or
Reviews?
Of the brain?
No, I don't recall. There must have been reviews. But you know, being an actor, I was off looking for the next job to get paid so I could. And I don't remember following up on reviews on that. Some television shows, and of course, you're on a stage long enough for reviews to come out and stuff. But that's a good question. Nobody's asked me that. I wonder. I don't remember reading any reviews about it, you know. Maybe that's why I'm enjoying the fan mail so much when they comment about the brain and they talk about Sally Fallon and all of that, you know?
Yeah, well, it's beloved now, so that's all that matters, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's great. It's amazing that this film has had a pretty big life, and you know, now with the Blu-ray, it's going to get even more of a following. As I say, it looks really fantastic. You're definitely in for a treat when you get your.
Oh,
your
really?
copy.
Good. Well, you know, the company that, you know, from the original Cinegime is the Film Detective. And they evidently go out and scout these films and then bring them in. I mean, and do, you know, and do, I guess there must be a huge Blu-ray people that are interested in Blu-ray and collect these films in Blu-ray and things. And he's that branch of the organization is called the Film Detective. And that's the first people that got in touch with me and have been working with me all along, you know, and setting up everything and so on. And yes, I guess that's what they do. And so they've the TCM Film Festival was on it about a few weeks ago, and they all came to see it, and David and I were invited, and that's when I met all of them from the Film Detective. Nice. Most of them. Yeah, that was nice. That was a nice lunch.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of reviewing a lot of their films, and they really do a fantastic job, I think, at really taking care of these films, celebrating them, you know, bringing them into a lot of homes that maybe wouldn't have seen them otherwise. I think that's really great.
Wow. I'm glad you told me that, because this was my first contact with them, my first venture with them, you might say. That's good. Yeah, bunch of beautiful young people that are just like yourself, just jumping in and just doing all this. You know, I think it's the fact that I can contribute. I'm very, you know, I've enjoyed it, and I'm happy about that. I can contribute to all of these new kind of things that have come out in film and stuff like Blu-ray and all of those.
Yeah. Well, you know, you are in good hands, because it's a great label. I think it's really fantastic.
And you know all about it. Yeah.
It's really great. It's so amazing that you contributed to this, and I feel very lucky to get to talk to you and you know, have you share some of the nice memories you have. And you know, it's been a real pleasure.
Okay. Well, nice talking to you, Mike. And like I said, this is going to be a whole new thing for me to see it again in a whole different way. And I thought we did kind of a different thing. I could have, instead of just me standing out there doing a general introduction or something about it, you know, to do this little 12-minute feature, 11-minute feature, or whatever it was. However long.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I really liked that.
Now, tell me, I'm curious, was it in the beginning, in the middle, or the end?
Oh,
Do you
it
remember?
is
It doesn't matter. I
like
just,
one of the I
I'll
was
wait
gonna
till
say
I see it.
here's the, well, you can kind of see it
Yeah.
there.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Um,
but I've loved it, and I enjoy talking to you guys like this. And
oh, thank
thank
you.
you.
Well, it's
Thank
been
you.
an absolute pleasure. Again, thank you so much.